day everyone, I'm Elizabeth Saki, representing Group 25. Today we'll be talking about the paradox of critical thinking with our main subtopic entitled, If Critical Thinking is so critical to development, why do people, even the educated, find it so difficult to think critically? We live in a world that is absolutely obsessed with development, innovation, and progress. And if you ask any expert, leader, or educator how we achieve that progress, the answer is always the same: critical thinking. We are told it is the ultimate tool for solving complex problems, building businesses, and driving societies forward. But this brings us face to face with a massive, unsettling paradox, one that lies at the very heart of our discussion today. If critical thinking is so critical to development, why do people, even the educated, find it so difficult to think critically? Why is it that an individual can spend years in classrooms, earn prestigious degrees, and master complex theories, yet still struggle to step back, question assumptions, and analyze an issue objectively? Why does formal education so often fail to produce independent minds? The truth is, having a trained memory is not the same as having a trained mind. Today, our group is going to pull back the curtain on this exact paradox. We will show you that critical thinking doesn't just happen automatically when you put on a graduation gown. Instead, it is constantly under attack by individual forces. We will break down the psychological biases that trick our brains into taking the easy way out, explore how traditional classrooms inadvertently reward obedience over original thought, and look at the intense social pressures that make conformity feel safer than questioning the status quo. Most importantly, we will share pathways to overcome these hurdles. Now, what is critical thinking? What is critical thinking? Critical thinking involves analyzing and evaluating issues objectively, enabling individuals to make informed decisions. It is foundational for effective problem solving across discipline, as stated by Ennis in 1987. Importance of critical thinking in education. John Dewey in 1933 argued that critical thinking is essential in education, promoting reflective thought and active learning, yet many curricula fail to prioritize these skills effectively. Independent thinking in critical thinking. Critical thinking involves analyzing and evaluating issues objectively, enabling individuals to make informed decisions. It is foundational for effective problem solving across discipline. Thank you.
I am Jacqueline Osampo, and I'll be taking you through cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are systematic patterns of deviation from norm or rationality in judgment. They operate automatically in the background, shaping how we process information without our conscious awareness. This bias can significantly distort decision-making processes, as noted by Kahneman in 2011. Under cognitive biases, we have confirmation bias. In confirmation bias, we naturally seek out, favor, and recall information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs, while completely ignoring or dismissing contradictory evidence. Education can sometimes worsen this, as highly educated people are often better at constructing elaborate arguments to justify their existence.
Subsequently, now we'll be discussing psychological barriers to critical thinking. A psychological barrier is an internal, emotional, or mental block that prevents a person from thinking clearly, communicating effectively, or rational decisions. These barriers make it difficult for people to think critically, even when they have access to the right information. An example is the stereotype. The stereotypes are fixed assumptions about people, groups, or ideas. When we rely on them, we often judge situations based on our beliefs instead of facts, which can lead to poor decisions. Another psychological barrier is fear and anxiety. When people are afraid of failure, criticism, or the unknown, they may avoid questioning ideas or expressing their opinions. Fear can prevent individuals from analyzing information carefully and objectively. Third barrier is the desire for conformity. Many people want to fit in with their friends, family, or society. Because of this, they may agree with popular opinions even when they have doubts instead of speaking their minds. They feel proud to avoid rejection or criticism. In conclusion, psychological barriers such as stereotypes, fear and anxiety, and the desire for conformity can prevent people from thinking critically. To overcome these barriers, we must be open-minded, willing to question assumptions, and ready to evaluate evidence objectively.
I'm Enima Florence, and I will be taking you through the paradox of education, which is the educational barriers. One educational barrier is rote memorization dominance. Education system often rote memorization, limiting students' ability to engage in analytical thinking. This approach undermines the development of critical thinking skills essential for problem solving. Again, the illusion of knowledge. Higher education can give people a false sense of absolute certainty. When an individual earns a degree or a title, they may fall into a trap of believing they have mastered a topic entirely, closing their minds to new evidence or alternative perspective. Lastly, authority-based architecture. Traditional classrooms are built on a hierarchy where the instructor is the absolute source of truth. This conditions students to accept information blindly based on the status of the speaker rather than evaluating the strength of the evidence itself.
Melinda, I'll be taking you through how to foster critical thinking in education. 1. Encourage inquiry-based learning. Promote a classroom environment where students are encouraged to ask questions, explore talking deeply, and engage in discussions. This aligns with John Dewey in 1933, believed that education should be rooted in experience and inquiry. 2. Integrate problem-solving activities. Incorporate real-world problems into the curriculum that requires students to analyze, evaluate, and create solutions. Robert Ennis in 1987 emphasized the importance of problem solving as a key component of critical thinking. Thirdly, assess and reflect on thinking processes.
My name is Ennis and I'll be talking about social barriers. One, echo chambers. We naturally surround ourselves with friends, social media accounts, and communities that think exactly like we do. When we only hang out with people that share the exact worldwide view, we never practice defending our ideas against real criticism. Your critical thinking muscles basically go down. 2. The fear of being judged. Critical thinking usually requires asking tough and uncomfortable questions. However, society often penalizes people who point out uncomfortable truths. So people avoid thinking critically out loud because they are afraid of being mocked or criticized or excluded by peers. 3. Social conformity. This is the fear of standing out or being the odd one out in a group. Humans naturally want to be belong, so they often quiet their own logical doubts just to be in the pace. Hence, it is psychologically safer to agree with the wrong ideas that everyone loves than to fight for the right ideas for yourself.
Hi, my name is Stacy, and then I'll be taking you through why education does not guarantee critical thinking. Some reasons education may not guarantee critical thinking includes rote learning. With rote learning, students may focus on memorizing information instead of understanding and evaluating it. Lack of questioning. Some educational systems discourage challenges, ideas, or authority. Bias and assumption. Educated people can still be influenced by personal belief, emotion, and social pressure. Lastly, critical thinking across practices. This is the skills that must be developed through discussion, analyzing, problem solving, and reflection. Note: education provides knowledge and skills, but critical thinking acquires the ability and willingness to question, analyze, and evaluate information.
My name is James Elisha, and I'll be taking you through future directions and pathways forward. Pedagogical relates to education, while societal relates to the society. So therefore, we start by one. Learn by asking questions, not just memorizing. Students should discover answers through questioning, not just repeat facts. This builds well thinking skills that work in any situation, not just exam halls. Media literacy and information check. People need to learn to check if what they read or watch is true. In a world full of misinformation, this is one of the most important skills anyone can have. Encourage lifelong learning. Fostering adaptability in students is very crucial. Lipman argues that lifelong learning cultivates critical thinking, enabling individuals to navigate complex societal challenges effectively.
Okay, my name is Beta Do, and I'll be taking you through some frequently asked questions in critical thinking. 1. Is critical thinking innate or can be taught? Critical thinking is not innate, it can be developed through practice and education. Question 2. Why does education not guarantee critical thinking skills? Education often focuses on rote memorization rather than fostering analytical skills, which can hinder the development of critical thinking. Question number 3. How can I access critical thinking skills effectively? Access critical thinking by using open-ended questions and real-world scenarios, which encourage deeper analysis and reflection. Question number 4. What are common misconceptions about critical thinking? Many believe critical thinking is simply about being critical or negative. However, it involves constructive analysis and problem solving.
I'm Victor. Throughout our presentations, my colleagues talked about the paradox of critical thinking, and we made some reference from key figures on critical thinking, which is 1. Robert Ennis, John Dewey, Matthew Lipman, and Daniel Kahneman. To summarize all what they said, although critical thinking is widely recognized as essential for individual and societal development, many people, including the educated, find it difficult to practice consistently. This difficulty stems from cognitive bias, emotional influence, social pressure, and educational systems that often prioritizes memorization over independent reasoning. Furthermore, formal education alone does not guarantee critical thinking, as knowledge and qualification can exist without intellectual humility or the willingness to challenge one's own assumptions.
Therefore, the paradox is not that people lack education, but that critical thinking requires skill and habits that education does not always cultivate. To promote genuine development, societies must encourage curiosity, open-mindedness, evidence-based reasoning so that individuals can think more critically and make better decisions. Thank you for watching our presentations. We are Group 25. Please like, comment, and share. Thank you.